Hey, story time. A really good book. Winnie-the-Pooh meets Gopher. This is a good book for everybody. You ready? Winnie-the-Pooh meets Gopher. Based on a story by A.A. Milne. I've read this book so many times. I found it in the basement, you guys. I read this book so many times. I'm going to read it to you. Winnie-the-Pooh meets Gopher by A.A. Milne. Winnie-the-Pooh lived in the forest under the name Sanders, which means he had the name Sanders over the door and he lived under it. One day when Pooh was sitting resting, his clock chimed. Hey, that's better. One day when Pooh was sitting and resting, his clock chimed. Now what does that mean, wondered Pooh. He knew it meant something, but being a bear of little brain, he had to think and think. Ah, yes, that was it. It was time for his stoutness exercises. Up, down went Pooh, humming a little hum. Doing his stoutness exercises always made Pooh hungry. Oh, bother. The honey pot was empty again. There was nothing in it. He would have to go out and find some. And so Pooh went out walking and he came to a sandy bank with a hole in it. It was Rabbit's hole, and Rabbit might say, "What about a bit of lunch?" "Is anybody home?" Pooh called. "No," said a voice. "Bother," said Pooh. "Isn't that you, Rabbit?" "No," said a voice. Pooh stuck his head in the hole. "Oh, Pooh," said Rabbit, "what a pleasant surprise. What about a bit of lunch?" "I do feel like a little something, now that I come to think of it," said Pooh, and he settled down to a large, small helping of honey and condensed milk, without the bread. For a long time Pooh ate and ate and ate. Then in a rather sticky voice, he said goodbye to Rabbit and started to climb out of the hole. "Oh, help! Oh, bother! I'm stuck," said Pooh. "It all comes from eating too much," said Rabbit, and he started pushing, but it was no help. "It all comes from not having a front door big enough," said Pooh. "I shall go and fetch Christopher Robin," said Rabbit, dashing out the back door. "Don't go away." Does Pooh look like he's going anywhere? Okay, so Rabbit's going to find Christopher Robin, I suppose. This story gets so good right here. "I say, are you stuck?" said Owl, who had landed nearby. "No, I'm just resting and thinking," said Pooh. Owl looked at him closely. "You, sir, are stuck," he said. "This situation obviously calls for an expert." "Here I am," said Samuel J. Gopher, an excavation expert at your service. Gopher, where we are. Gopher strutted around Pooh, poking and prodding. Hard digging. Danger of a cave-in. Need planks for bracing. Big job. 2 or 3 days. 2 or 3 days, said Pooh. What about lunches? No problem, said Gopher. Always bring my own. Always bring my own lunch. Run into money? Strictly cash? Think it over? Let me know. Here's my card. And he disappeared as suddenly as he had come. Okay, Cheer up, Pooh Bear, we're coming, called a voice. Christopher Robin and Kangaroo and Piglet and Eeyore and Rabbit appeared over the hill. They started pulling and pulling. There's only one thing to do, said Christopher Robin at last. We'll have to wait until you get thin. Might take weeks or even months, said Eeyore sadly. And no meals, said Christopher Robin. Okay. And so there was Winnie-the-Pooh, half in and half out of the hole. Night fell and rain fell. And when Pooh got wet, Rabbit and the others had to wring him out. They sang him sustaining songs and tried to cheer him up, and Pooh tried not to think about eating. After they all went home and Pooh was left alone, I still think I could blast you out of there, said Gopher, appearing suddenly. You are that stuck-up bear, aren't you? He added. Said Pooh, absently eyeing Gopher's lunchbox. Okay. What's in the box? Said Pooh, suspecting something. Let me see, said Gopher bluntly. There's a little clove salmon and some custard and, yes, some honey. Honey, breathed Pooh. Honey, gasped the rabbit from inside the hole. Oh, no, not that. Finding his front door still full, he dashed out the back door and ran around just in time to see Gopher politely handing Pooh a fat jar of honey. Stop it at once, said Rabbit, snatching the jar away. Not one drop. But Rabbit, I wasn't going to eat it, said Pooh in an offended tone of voice. Only taste it. I'll taste it, Rabbit said grandly. You are in a predicament. No tasting, no eating until you're thin. Thoughtfully, he tasted the honey, then gave the jar back to Gopher. Very good, in fact, not bad at all, but not for Pooh Bear. Rabbit was quite busy for a long time down in his hole. When he came up, he had a sign which he had made. The sign said, "Don't feed the bear." Gopher didn't come back after that. Pooh got thinner and thinner until at last, when they all pulled and Rabbit pushed, pop out came Pooh, and off he went flying through the air. Christopher Robin and Piglet and Eeyore and Kanga and Roo all landed in a heap. Where is he? Said Rabbit, looking from his front door. Stuck again, said Eeyore sadly. Don't worry, silly old bear, said Christopher Robin in a loving voice. We'll get you out. There's no hurry, mumbled Pooh Bear. This is the right kind of tree and the right kind of bee. What a happy ending for Pooh. Well, that was all over the place. Maybe I'll try it again. Read something good, you guys. Winnie-the-Pooh meets Gopher. Have a good weekend. See ya. You never really do know.